So, hello, good morning, everyone. Uh, Thank you for joining the webinar on the given time. So, Dr. Iqbal sir is here. Today, we are starting our webinar. We are little bit late due to some technical glitches. So, very sorry for that. Uh, I want to like to give a brief intro about Dr. Iqbal Hyder sir. Sir has done his b.v.sc from Pondicherry. After that, he has done his master's from IVRI. Then he was selected for the ICR International Fellowship, that is Netaji Subhash International Fellowship, and he pursued his PhD from Germany with utmost grade of 1 out of 4. So that is the maximum grading which he had achieved. He was also awarded with the best presentation award during his PhD thesis submission while presenting his research. Despite of that, he had qualified various exams like CSIR, UGC, JRF with 66 rank all India. He was also the second ranker in the SRF exam, and he secured a great rank in JRF exam as well. So he has secured a lots of travel grant. He traveled in various countries of Europe, and even he went to Canada for presenting his research work. So sir is there now. Let it over to with sir. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Shubham, for your nice introduction. Can you all hear me, first of all?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, thank you. But there is some problem with my video. I could not switch it on. I tried various ways. So somehow my audio is not getting switched on. So it's only problem in this Google Meet. Generally, I use Zoom or this Microsoft, but there I have not faced issues because I'm using it first time today. And I noticed it actually very late. But anyway, you have seen me in the brochure. So just imagine me that I am speaking. Okay. Okay. So what Shubham has introduced about me, right? I am very much thankful for him and for giving this opportunity to interact with you. And today I'll actually briefly explain to you about about research career. I mean, how you plan to go abroad and what are the different factors you have to consider. And I know that there are some fears or there are some aspects that many of you might be having, right? Like before going and after you come back, if at all you want to come back to India, right? And what are the scholarship opportunities in Germany, right? Because I did my 3 years of a PhD in Germany. Right, so I am pretty much aware about the scholarship opportunities in Germany because talking about whole of the Europe, it's very vast. So I can actually speak about different countries a little bit, but actually Germany is actually a standout country in terms of how it supports the students, right? So I'll start in a general way and then I'll take you to the opportunities what we have in Germany. And then further, what you can do if you want to really come back to India or if you want to settle there. And yes, basically every presentation at first it addresses the general issues. So if anyone is having certain specific doubts or specific questions, then you can obviously ask me without any hesitation, even in between or even at the end of presentation. Okay. So I can see some of the students here. That's good to have. So let me start my presentation. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay. So let me first thank 24 Advanced Learning. It's a startup. It's a very nice startup initiative from Shubham and his team. And myself, Dr. Iqbal Hyder, right? And I did my. Let me just tell you actually what are the options that you are having because I already introduced about me. What are the options we have? Generally, when you finish your veterinary science, I know most of you are still in your b.v.sc, some of you are in MBSc, and I think some of you might be in PhD. So these are all the options what we have. Like you can practice on your own, We have, as a veterinary assistant surgeon or veterinary officer in your state government or even in the central government undertakings. Then you have remote veterinary corps that you can also go to army. That is through this RVC. You can become an academic researcher in ICR or also in other institutes. We have veterinarians in other institutes also. Then you can become a teacher in a university, right? You can start as an entrepreneurship. I mean, you can do your own farming, and there are certain people who do the data analysis. And of course, though it is placed at last, civil servant, it's one of the most promising or juicy options for everyone. And I myself had this opportunity, and in my very first attempt, actually appeared for interview in civil services exam, and unfortunately could not pursue it later because of certain other issues. So I have actually experienced. I mean, right in my final BSc itself, I could clear my civil services both Indians and means, and I had an opportunity to attend the interview. And after that, there was because of change in pattern and all, and then I got diverted. Of course, in the state BSc also, I had opportunity where I missed by just 1 mark. So there are lots of ups and downs for you to share. I mean, so basically, just let me introduce once again to show that after my +2, I did my B.v.sc and AH from Rajiv Gandhi College of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, which is now called as Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Veterinary Education and Research. It's in Pondicherry, right? It's a union territory in Tamil Nadu. I mean, it is geography located in Tamil Nadu, but it's itself a union territory. And after 2005 to 10 is my B.v.sc, and after I finished B.v.sc, right, I appeared in ICR exam. I got 10th rank in JRF. Then I had opportunity to study it's not one. I think it's the premier institute for veterinary sciences in India. That is IVRA. Like everybody dreamed to have a seat in masters there. So I pursued with JRF. That is from 2010 to 12. And it's not, the PhD is not immediate, because in 2013 I got the job of assistant professor in Sri Venkateswara Veterinary University in Andhra Pradesh. Right, so I am working in one of its colleges in Jarivedi. So I can see some of the students also in presentation now here. And from 2013 till date, so that's why I did not put any end date here, because it's still I'm still continuing there. Right, and then in 2017, after I joined my job and after spending some time there, then I got selected for ICR International Fellowship. So that's why it's acknowledgement that I want to definitely make here. I did my PhD in 2 institutes. You can say that University of Veterinary Medicine, Hanover. This is the university where actually that gives degrees to the veterinarians. It gives bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. And this is the place actually where I did my research. So there is a difference. So generally, when you go abroad, the place where you do research is different, and where you get degree might be different, because it's only universities that grant the degrees, not the institutes. Right? So this is in Germany. It is written Institute for Nutrigenetic, which means Institute of Farm Animal Genetics. Right? It is in Hanover region in Germany. And this is the university that is University of Veterinary Medicine, Hanover. Of course, these are the senior colleagues who were working there when I was for PhD. Both of these they belong to Buffalo Research Institute, RISA. So yeah, this was 2017 to 20. So I came just before Corona to India. So that's the journey. And as Shubham said, so it is, I got a very good grade in, which is, I mean, I should proudly say, because it is getting such a grade as an Indian there in a foreign country with lot of appreciation.
Sir,
Yeah.
excuse me. Sir, kindly hide this. You are so, the presentation was not.
This one?
Yeah, okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I got this very good grade in Hanover when I was pursuing my doctoral degree. Right. So this is about me. Now, let us actually start with the presentation now. Why you want to study abroad, or why you want to go abroad? And there is very common saying that the pursuit of education is an investment for life. See, why do you actually want to have education? Right? It is your investing for life. That is something which can never be stolen from you. And whenever you want to do a product, further case when you want to take any decision in life, we actually do, or you are supposed to do, an analysis that is called as SWOT analysis. I don't know whether you have come across this term before, or in extension you must have come across this term. That is called as strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's called as SWOT analysis, right? So you weigh the strengths, you weigh your weaknesses, then you look at what are the opportunities and what are the threats that you have when you take any decision. And for that matter, going abroad is also not a very simple decision, though it looks very tempting and all. But let us see what are the strengths you have. See, first thing is that you will get international fully or partially funded scholarship. It's very good chance that you get scholarship, and we have, I think, presenters in these 7 days or 7 weeks, 7 speakers, who all of them are having a kind of a scholarship. Right? That's one of the strengths you are going to have. And you have partnership or strategic alliance with scientists and researchers. So once you come back, or once you do your research, a part of your research degree in abroad, and if you want to come back and settle in India, so you always have that linkage, right? You always have that access to the scientists in developed countries, so you have a recognition in that case. And of course, you have very good access to equipment and facilities, which definitely you will be not having that much in India. Right, because the research funding in foreign countries is bit obviously higher, and that exposure for your equipment and facilities, it will not only help you become a researcher, but it also help you, when you want to go to private sector, right, where you have to handle the advanced equipment. So that will actually expose you before when you are doing this higher studies abroad. And obviously, you get very good publications, right, and other research activities like attending conferences. And as such, you have very good student welfare activities in abroad. So the lot of importance given for students, right, for their welfare and for their both academic and non-academic welfare. So that are the strengths generally what you have when you want to decide to go to abroad for higher studies. But of course, you have certain weaknesses. That's obviously being away from home and you're near India. That's always. Those who have this emotional aspect, emotional attachment, and you have to be far. So that's a part of this code. So always there are some things which come along with the other things, right? And adapting to the system. So you are, if you think today you are in this system and suddenly you have to go and adopt a new system. So that also is one of the weakness. But yes, what outweighs here is the strength, right? So obviously you are supposed to outweigh the strength with in comparison to weakness. Then only you can actually decide something. Then what are the opportunities, right? So you have internationally recognized academic programs and professional courses, which is very essential, for your growth as a researcher or as an academician. You have access to the courses when you are in abroad, right? You have peer recognition. Your skills will be, there's an opportunity to enhance your skills, and you have opportunities for future collaboration. And the best opportunity, like many of you might be actually looking at, that you want to settle abroad. Yes, there are opportunities in this aspect. You directly going for a job to a foreign country from India might be difficult, but if you are going and settling there, then there are avenues opening up for you that will help you settling abroad. Okay. Then obviously the threats. So what are the threats? This is also very less. One is the academic threats. So academic threats means this is the very common problem what generally face. Like when you are, for example, after you spend 5 to 6 years or up to 10 years in a foreign country, you want to come to India. You applied for a job, and the moment you sit in interview, they say that no, your degree is not recognized, or suppose you are in animal nutrition, your degree is not having the name of animal nutrition, or you are not having the degree in veterinary microbiology or veterinary physiology. So what happens is that even though you have excellent degrees from reputed international institutions or universities, but still you are not actually being treated that how it should be treated, and that's one academic fear we have. So what happens if I want to come back to India? Then of course there are certain domestic threats that is obviously there at everywhere. Anything can happen anytime. That doesn't actually absolve you. That doesn't stop you from taking challenges or taking opportunities of going abroad. So when you actually do this SWOT analysis, obviously what we have to outweigh is your strengths and opportunities. right? If you have weaknesses, for example, nobody wants to go and do PhD in some African countries where there are no facilities, right? So even that's also amounting to going abroad, but that doesn't mean that you are going to a place where there are no facilities and where you are facing more weaknesses and threats than more strengths and opportunities. So in life, to do this strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, that is SWOT analysis, and this is the SWOT analysis that I am presenting you for going abroad. So why study abroad? Okay. Let us go further.
Sir,
Yeah.
sorry for disturbing again. Sir, actually your voice is not clear. Sir, are you using your earphones?
Yeah, I'm using earphones. So should I remove it?
Some sound is coming continuously.
Okay, then let me just remove it and see. Can you hear now? Is it better now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, is it better?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the next question comes up is that when is the best time to go abroad? Okay, this is the next question. And whether it is after higher secondary education, that is after your +2, there are, you can go even after +2. There are opportunities. It's not that it's not there. There are opportunities because there are foreign countries which grant you degrees. Like, you can even do veterinary science. I have seen some people going to Russia for veterinary science, or I have seen some people from Nepal going to Germany for getting graduation, that is for veterinary science. So you can also go for after higher secondary education, but right now we don't have target audience. Then you can go after graduation, that is after your b.v.sc for masters and above, right? Then you can go after your post-graduation, that is after MSc, that's for PhD and above. And after PhD, obviously, there are very less postdoc opportunities here. So if you are really passionate about research career, then you have to try and go there, right, for postdoc and above. Now, among this, I feel, or I suggest the best option for anyone is that you go after post-graduation, that is MVSC. And the question comes, why? Why not after graduation? So you can also go after graduation. But the thing is that suppose somebody wants to come back to India, somebody wants to work in a veterinary college, or somebody wants to work in a veterinary university, they want to apply for a job, or for that case, you want to apply for a scientist job. So wherever there is a qualification of MVSC, right, that is Masters in Veterinary Science, is not actually equal to Masters in Science. There is a difference. So there is an issue of equivalence of your degrees. And as on today, there are no courses that are approved by Veterinary Council of India that says it is equivalent to MVSC. And if you remember, most of the notifications that you get in jobs in veterinary universities, what is the first thing they say? That you should have b.v.sc, that's the basic qualification. Then you should have MVSc in the respective discipline, right? Then you have PhD, that is preferable. Or after some time, PhD might be preferable, but still you need to have MVSc. So Masters in Veterinary Science is very essential. So if you are getting good, admission in a good university in India or good college in India, so try to do your MVSc here. That's my suggestion, because you are actually in a safe zone. If you are doing MVSc, you are in a safe zone. So what happens is that many people, they actually come to India applying for a job with Masters in Science, okay, of a United States or Canada or whatever it is. They come with Masters in Science. So sometimes you have a candidate with MVSc, then obviously the candidate with MVSc is preferred. So once you do MVSc, then you are actually safe with your PhD, because you can get PhD. And anyway, after PhD, with PhD and above, you have a lot of research options. Either you want to come to India or you want to settle abroad. So this is the best time, after post-graduation. So try to get a good rank in JRF and try to, get admission in a good college or good university in India. So complete your MVSc, and then you plan for abroad if you are having passion about this research career, right? Now, which country is the best? That's the next question that you want to have, right? Which country is the best? This decision comes with a lot of things. What are the considerations? What are the things that you consider to decide which country is the best? The first thing is that always you have certain perception. Perception means the moment you say somebody is going abroad for education, it is obviously what's the first country? It is United States of America, right? So that's, it's a general perception. Higher education means United States, okay, or United Kingdom. So these are the only two. Then you see international preference, where many people of whom you know are going. So obviously many people, they go to US, or they go to North American countries, or they go to UK. So there is certain international preference. And other thing that we have to consider is that feedback from diaspora. So somebody, you have certain speakers from United States, you have certain speakers from United Kingdom, or from this one. So they give their feedback. So whosoever are there, so they give feedback. So that is one of the considerations that you are supposed to do. And publications in your field. For example, you want to do research in a particular line, and you have certain idea of what you are going to do, or what you want to do in your PhD or postdoc. Then you actually look after the publications. You look the publications in the field, and you see where from this majority of publications are coming. It is a collaborative team in Germany, or it's a collaborative team coming from United States, or it's collaborative coming from some other country. So that is one of the things, and this, I think, is very important consideration. So publications in your field. So don't imagine that the going to foreign means by default you are going to United States, or by default you're going to United Kingdom or Canada. So it's not, I mean, do not actually decide country first. So try to see in which area you want to go, in which area you want to work, right? Then you decide accordingly. Then there are some considerations. You have some people have seen that the ease of coming to India. For example, if you are in Europe, I can just travel for 8 hours and come back to India, right? In case of any emergency. So if you have to go to United States, then so even though it is not much that of important consideration, but still I have seen people who take this into consideration, right? And the financial aspects is a very big consideration, because the fee, the academic fee, right? You have European countries like Netherlands or Germany or France, where the tuition fee are not high. In fact, actually, there are a chance of getting more financial support for your degrees, right? Whereas if you see in the United States, the tuition fee are very high. Of course, if you get partial waiver or full waiver, that's a different thing. But your maintenance costs and your this one, it's also on the higher side when compared to other countries. So financial aspects is one consideration that you have to look into. Then other thing is that opportunities for settling abroad. So which country if I go, that I have an opportunity to settling abroad, or opportunity of settling abroad. For example, if you are going with a Schengen visa in European Union, so even if you get a degree in one country, actually you have a chance, you get an opportunity in other countries, then you can settle down for some time for postdoc. For example, it's very common. People do degrees in Belgium or in Netherlands, they come for postdoc in Germany, or they go for postdoc in Sweden, or they do PhD in Sweden and come back to Austria. So there's very very huge opportunities when you're actually having visa for multiple countries, right? And there are certain other considerations, like you have certain relatives there, or you have certain access there, you have certain friends there. So there are all different considerations. So don't decide the country abruptly first. So I feel the important consideration is that the publications in your field. So if you want to do certain work, right, just try to look after the publications in that field, and you decide it accordingly. Okay, other considerations you can have. It's not that you don't take into consideration the remaining aspects, but while taking into consideration, as I said, you have to outweigh something over the others. Okay. Now this is just to show you statistics. Which country students, they go abroad from their country. Obviously, like in every case, it is the China that outnumbers. You can see here on the left side, we have China that is obviously outstanding in number of students they go abroad. Then the second country is India. So we have Indian students going abroad more. Right? So it looks like when you see, because the Korea or Chinese, they always look same. So when you see abroad in foreign laboratories, you can see obviously definitely there will be 2 to 3 Chinese, even in a very small lab. Okay? And what is the top 10 destinations for Indian students? So this is what I want to show you, that the first destination obviously for everyone is United States. Yes, there is no doubt that it is obviously outstanding facilities that you have there. Outstanding research laboratory, is #1 country in research, right? Of course, apart from that, we have other countries, that is United Kingdom is the second most preferred destination for Indians, right? There are people who go to Australia. Okay, I think we have speaker coming from Australia in your future interactions. Then you have Canada. I think you had speaker from Canada, and there are people who go to Arab countries, so this is also one of very surprising aspect I could see. Maybe because here the Arab country doesn't mean Iraq or something like that, or Iran. Basically, it is going to this Israel. That's also having very good research facilities. Okay. Then you have people going to New Zealand, and in New Zealand, the second largest student community is Indians, right? And there are very good chances also of settling abroad. There are people who have gone, even from my own university, there are people who have gone there and they have settled there as lecturer. Okay, they were settled there as assistant professors and later they became professors and all. So New Zealand is one very good option. That's why every now and then in New Zealand cricket team, you see there are certain Indians playing. Okay, at least 2 to 3 Indians playing. And then we have Germany, and because right now the students going abroad, of course this belongs to 2016 statistics, but right now the people who go to Germany are increasing. And then we have Russia. Obviously for medicine you see that many people they go to Russia and Ukraine, right? So these two are preferred for courses related to medicine. And then we have people going to France. So these are the top 10 destinations where the Indian students they are going for their higher studies. That's what I was saying. The preferred countries in Europe. Not just if you concentrate on Europe, as of now, the preferred countries are this UK, Germany, then Belgium, Netherlands. Of course, UK is not a part of European Union, so you can actually take it as a standout country. But still, because it's a geographically part of Europe, I have to show here. So we have UK, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, France, and Austria. So all these countries, people they go for. Of course, some people, those who want to do in this reproductive physiology or reproduction, research and reproduction. Even Spain is also one of the good options for, and you can actually try out certain supervisors there. Okay, so these are the preferred countries in Europe. Now, then after the question of this choosing a country, then actually what to choose within that country, like whether you have to choose a supervisor or you have to choose an institute or you have to choose a university. So how you actually approach? See, remember these three are different. See, first thing is that university grants degrees. So it doesn't matter wherever you do research, in which institute you do research, you're actually supposed to attach yourself to a university that grants degrees. It's just like ICR. Even though you do research in your Buffalo Research Institute or Cattle Research Institute or Sheep Research Institute, the degree is not granted by this institute. The degree is granted either by NDRA or IVRA. So it is simply the same. So don't actually look after the university first, right? So what we have to then next is that whether what university grants is degrees, then what university provides is facilities, and it is a supervisor who provides guidance and access to your needs. That is both research needs and non-academic needs. So first, what you have to do is that you have to choose a supervisor. So if you choose a supervisor, you are choosing the rest too, because he is a part of institute or sometimes he is part of university, or sometimes he is a part of both. Sometimes we have supervisors, they work in institutes, but they have a designation of a professor in a university. Okay, they have a temporary. It's not like you have to do only one job in a foreign country. You can also have at the same time a designation of a professor in a university. So all these things are it's a bit different in a foreign country. So that's why you try to choose a supervisor. Okay, so it is a supervisor that provides you facilities. He is the one who is having the projects. He is the one who will be providing you the research facilities, and he guides you that where you have to enroll for PhD, what courses you have to do, and how you get a degree. Right? He just shows you the way. Then you have to get it. Right? For example, I enrolled with my supervisor. That is, his name is Dr. Wilfred Kues, and he worked in Institute of Farm Animal Genetics. At the same time, he was holding the designation of a professor in a University of Veterinary Medicine, Hanover. So, and the degree was granted to me by University of Veterinary Medicine, Hanover. It is one of the oldest. In fact, it is the second university in the world to be established in 1778. Right? So it's one of the oldest universities. So choose a supervisor first before you go for the institute or university. It doesn't matter university because it's the one which grants your degrees. And most of the universities that you have are reputed universities, so it doesn't matter. But what's important is that supervisor. Okay, to get quality publications, it is the supervisor that's important. Then choosing a supervisor, how you again, the next question comes, right? You know that you have to choose a country first, then now you came to know that you have to choose a supervisor first. Now, how you choose a supervisor? Choosing a supervisor. So, what are the different ways how you can choose a supervisor? The easiest way is follow your seniors. So, my seniors have gone there, right? So, I can go there. Right? That's one way. That's following your seniors. Then you take suggestions from your senior and colleagues. Okay, sometimes your senior says, yes, even this lab is good or this person is good, you can write a letter that there's a position there. So you take suggestions from seniors, like how you are actually doing now with these speakers. Then other thing is that, what is that one? We have Google Guru. So Google can tell you anything, right? So random Google search. But randomness has its own complications because you're actually searching, you're just searching a pin in a stack of grass. It's very difficult. So random Google search is of course one option, but that's not the right way. Now choosing through publications in the area of interest. So this is the most preferred and what you are supposed to do when you choose a supervisor. So how you actually do it is that now you want to do a research in a particular area. Let's you have a field of interest or specific topic in that particular subject. So you might be searching. For example, you have certain wild ideas, so you just do Google search of that sentence or that field of research, then you get certain publications, right? You see most updated publications of 2021 or 20 or 19 or 18. Then you see, once you download the publications, if you open the publications, you have what is called as corresponding author, right? You have names of authors. Then you have finally an author which is who is having a star on his name. So he is the corresponding author. That means he is the one who might be having the lab. He is the one might be the research leader, right? So there is a star mark on that person because there are some people with b.v.sc. That's why I'm telling it. So people with masters and PhD, they might be knowing it very well. So you have a certain star mark on his name, and his details will be there in the bottom of the page or at the end of the article. So he is the corresponding author, and if you see there are certain publications, series of publications coming from him, from his lab, then you get actually you have a mail ID of that particular person there if you see in that articles. So you just take that mail ID, you just take that mail IDs and you see who are the leading researchers in that field. Okay, so then you can get that contact, you can note it down somewhere, and you can start writing to them. Okay, that's why choosing through publications will not only help you in choosing the country, choosing the lab, choosing the supervisor also. Now, one other way is that contacting the already working students in reputed labs. So you know that there are some labs which are very reputed, and sometimes when you do the lab search, you might be getting contact. So it's very common. If you see some reputed labs, if you just see their web page, you see who are students working under me. So there might be some Indians working under this. You get phone number, you just contact them, or you just mail them and ask. And these are all the different ways how you choose a supervisor. Of course, for me, this is the best, but I never had no chance to do this because I just tried to follow my senior who there are 2-3 people who did a PhD under him. He is the one who is known to take Indians, and I just mailed him, and there was a slot open, and I got it. Right? So I did not actually do other things, but these are the preferred ways actually of doing this. This is the most preferred way. So if at all I have to go for postdoc, so this is what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to do. Right? So there are ways of choosing a supervisor also. So just to brief you about that, I have shown this slide. Now let us see how to approach a chooser. Now we have chosen a supervisor. We are going step by step. So we have chosen a supervisor. Now how to approach him? Actually, how to write to him? This is also very important. So obviously you will email to the official email ID what you get from publication. Okay, so you have seen the publications. In that there is a corresponding author, right? So the details of the corresponding author you note it down and you actually write to that email ID. Okay, sometimes you also note that sometimes 2018 publication of the scientist having different email ID and 2020 publication of the same scientist having different email ID because the scientists they move across the countries. They move across the labs. Okay, so the most updated email ID. Okay, or by chance, if you are not sure where is he, you can actually write mail to both the email IDs. Okay, so getting the mail ID is a very important thing from the publications. Then send email with a clear and short subject. So there should be subject of that mail. So what you want to do? Yes, requesting for PhD admission or seeking a slot in your lab. So first you just try to put a short and simple subject because they should know what actually, who are you or what are you trying. Then they will go into the body of the mail. Because good researchers, they have very less time, right? And they have the very strict timing, so they do not do randomly like generally what we do. Basically, we Asians, we like randomness. So today we try to schedule something and something else happens, unless it is very important. Otherwise, we are open for anything. But you have very strict time limits when you are dealing with the foreign supervisors. So you keep the body of the mail simple and straight. No superlatives and hyperbolics like what respected, or I have seen your profile is excellent. So don't write, it's not a kind of flattery that we are trying to do. So no superlatives and hyperbolics. So come straight to the point. Of course, we will have a temptation. We try. Okay, what will happen if I don't praise him or if I don't say a few good words? So obviously, if you are tempted to do that, you just do it, but within limits. So with a caution. That's why there should be a balance between your temptation and caution. That's very important. Okay, because I have seen it. I'm not just telling it randomly because I have seen when I was talking to supervisors, they say when I met a scientist in Belgium in a conference, yes, we get mails from Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh writing that. So we do not know exactly what they want. We had to read the entire email. Then at the end, okay, then we come to know that they are writing for a PhD admission. So we do not have much time to read. So this is what the feedback actually got from some of the foreign supervisors. So that's why keep your mail simple and straight. Right? Tell briefly about yourself. Tell briefly about why you want to work under him or her. And generally, preferably mail on working days. Right? So working days means generally for them it is Monday to Friday afternoon. Monday morning to Friday afternoon. So Friday, after half of the day, they just leave. Saturday and Sunday, they won't respond. And Monday again, they respond. If at all your Saturday and Sunday mails are too many, then Sunday they may not be having time to even look at it. So working days. So just try to calculate the working hours. It doesn't mean that they don't look at the mails, but obviously I'm telling you, if a busy scientist might be getting different mails, so he might not be having time to check all. So preferably mail on working days between Monday to Friday, considering their standard timing, not your Indian standard timing. It is whatever the timing of the country that you are trying to approach. Okay. So that's the best chance that they might be having a look at your email, because it's not that only you that who is messaging or emailing. So you have the email of, you have many emails, many people mailing them. Right? So these are certain approaches how we actually communicate with a supervisor so that you have a best chance of getting a reply. So first, getting a reply is very important. Once you get a reply, that means that the communication actually started. Okay. So I'll just show my email that I did in my first approach to the supervisor. Of course, generally it's a private conversation. It amounts to private conversation, but still, it's not something that is very, dangerous or it is affecting someone. So that's why I want to show. This is the email I sent on 2nd of April 2016 at 1:56 p.m. Means somewhere it is in the morning hours of Germany. So you can see that I just did a subject of the mail, Iqbal Hyder, so-and-so in India, requesting for PhD admission regarding, right? And I just told you briefly about myself. Then what is that I want to do? Because there is ICR Fellowship, that the notification was shortly going to come. Because it's an annual notification. Every year you get this notification for ICR International Fellowship in the month of April to May. So just before that, I wanted to have, just brief him, because he already has the idea of this fellowship, and because he already has guided some of the students under the same fellowship. So I just wanted to tell briefly about this. So here in India, our government is encouraging students for this so-and-so fellowship. So I'm keen to pursue my doctoral degree because I am interested in transgenic research. So I know you are very busy, so appreciate any time that you can give to me. Thank you very much. So along with this mail, you attach your CV. And if at all you are actually trying to approach him through a fellowship, so generally the foreign supervisors, they prefer when you are actually simultaneously searching for a fellowship. Now there are two ways. When you approach supervisor, first you ask him if there is any slot, if there is any project, Okay, so that they can fund you. Because without funding, you cannot actually stay abroad. So you should have some source of funding. If you do not have some source of funding, many people see people from engineering backgrounds, they actually have to show huge money in their accounts, for their maintenance, right? So, and if you're actually doing PhD, obviously the source of funding is very important. Without source of funding, you cannot actually stay there. So source of funding is very important. So in very first communication, you actually say that yes, I am applying for this fellowship. Okay, and just by simply telling you're applying for this fellowship also will not work. You have to attach your CV, because looking at your CV, your supervisor will have an idea what is the chance of you getting that fellowship. Of course, getting fellowship or not getting fellowship among the selection process is it's an uncertain outcome. But obviously, when your credentials are good, you have very good biodata, you have very good CV, then there's more chance that you get it. You have more chance that you will get that fellowship, right? So you send your CV and you also send the details of the fellowship. Okay, even though people are in Germany, many of the German supervisors might not be knowing the in and out of the fellowships, because it's not important for them. See, obviously, remember that the difference between the Asian way of thinking and European way of thinking is that they just try to remember what is there, whereas for the knowledge, we try to remember things for the sake of knowledge. Okay, that's why in terms of knowledge, if you go abroad, you will shine. Why Indians know? Most of the Indians, they go abroad, they shine. They get very good name. Why? Because they have a very a raw knowledge. We actually know something of everything. Okay, so knowing of something of everything is different. So what in foreign happens is that they know everything of that something. Okay, so when you're writing a supervisor, what you have to do is that you just a short mail, attach your CV, and also tell about which fellowship program that you are applying. Okay, that's very important. And after this, just this is the reply I got. The thanks for it. They give very short reply. They do not take whether they do not look into the grammatical aspect of the reply. They just say that yes, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to support. And what is the deadline of submission? And one thing that in the first communication the supervisors they ask is that you just provide me with a 1 page or half a page of outline of what you would like to propose. So it's not a detailed project report or detailed project that they ask in very first communication. They just ask what is your idea, what you want to work, because they can actually easily catch what you want, what is your idea, what is your level of it's just like when you write about rumen acidosis in your UG. Right, you can write in 10 pages, you can write in 1 page. Okay, so the one who actually can present the concept short is the one who is actually having knowledge about it. So that's what they consider. So just try to write a short outline of what you want to do. Okay, that's the communication, and that outline. So the first communication, if you get a reply, then you're lucky enough to get a reply, and at the same time, if you are able to convince him with the outline, then you can see that most of your part is done. Because after this, what you get is an acceptance, a formal acceptance letter from the supervisor, and a formal acceptance letter from a well-established scientist in a foreign country will actually also help you in getting a fellowship. Okay, see, just want to tell you, because ICR fellowship, what it considers is not only your CV, but to which lab you are going, to which reputed lab you are going, what is the credentials of that lab. You have certain column, what are the credentials of that lab. So if you are getting an acceptance from a supervisor who is well established, then you see that absolutely have very good chance of getting that fellowship. Okay, so try to catch the attention of the supervisor with the mail, with your CV, and with your outline of half page or 1 page. Okay, do not try to express more in your very first communication, because outline means outline. It should be restricted to 1 page. It's just like abstract of your article. You see abstract, how do you look for your article, whether it is important for you or not. You look at the abstract, right? If the abstract is not fitting your area of research, then you just remove it. You will not read the entire article. That's how you save time. So that's how the supervisors, they save time. They just look at the outline and they say, yes, no, I am not interested. Because even in a very short topic of research, okay, for example, somebody is working on the stem cells, They might not be working on all the stem cells. So somebody are very much special in intestinal stem cells. Somebody are very much specialized even in pancreatic stem cells. So the area also differs. So when you write to a supervisor, look at his very, you know, it's like rather's edge. They say it's very narrow, because when you go to higher science, it's very narrow. Okay, now let us. I'll just tell you about what are the fellowship opportunities that you have in Germany. Just briefly, there are many opportunities. I know many of you might not be knowing this. Even well-established people who are right now in Germany. But this is a concise information that I secured actually a long time back. So I just wanted to tell you. There are certain foundations, and each foundation have different fellowship options. So the biggest or the best one that you have is Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. This is the foundation that supports cooperation between outstanding international and German researchers. Right? And I have also actually provided you the websites, actually the details of the websites where you can directly look into. I'll share the presentation also with Shubham if you want. So this is the foundation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the foundation that awards the about 700 research scholarships and prizes every year, and including the renowned Alexander von Humboldt Professorship, right? And one special feature is that world-spanning Humboldt Foundation network. So once you're a part of Humboldt, it's very lucky to be part of Humboldt. I'll tell you, you will know what to be a Humboldtian. Okay, so people they say I'm Aviarian, I'm Endiarian. Okay, so being a part of Humboldt network, you know you will get the recognition that you will enjoy for your life. And getting a Humboldt Fellowship, I'll tell you, it not only supports you. For example, if you're married, it will support your spouse. If you're taking your parents, it will support your parents. If you're having children, it will support your children. So I'll tell you that you're actually having a very royal life when you get a Humboldt Fellowship, right? And after you come back to India, you can maintain that network, and you can anytime go to do a short research work. So Alexander von Humboldt Foundation is very prestigious foundation. Then you have DAAD, right? So German Academic Exchange Service, that's called as DAAD. There's actually full form for DAAD in German, but I don't want to tell you that because it's German is very difficult to pronounce. And in 3 years, I did not learn much of German. What I used is a translation app. Of course, we have a lot of apps, so just put a translation app. So even though they laugh at the translation, but still they can understand what you want to say. Okay, so you have German Academic Exchange Service, that is DAAD. And it's very funny, like, just want to say, then when people used to ask whether have you come here with DAAD Fellowship? No, I said I came with Mom Fellowship, right? Because I came with Fellowship of ICR, which is from my mother India. I'm not coming with the Fellowship of DAAD, right? So that's how they're very funny people used to say. So DAAD is the world's largest funding organization for the international exchange of students and researchers, and it supports millions of scholars home and abroad. So this is a program where you can go abroad for 6 months, for 3 months, for 1 year, for entire 3 years. So there are different programs. So you can actually see the website here, the details. Of course, I'll tell you what are the fellowships also in the coming slides. Then you have DFG. So DAAD is different, DFG is different. People get generally confused. So you can see that Deutsch, Forschungs, Gemeinschaft. So it's very difficult to pronounce. So that's why just remember it is DFG. Okay. So it's a German Research Foundation, is the central research funding organization in Germany with an annual budget of 3.2 billion euros. Okay. It is an independent self-governing organization for science, and all its decisions therefore come directly from the research sector itself. Okay. So here also you can see in the website. So every postdoctoral research at German research institution can apply to the DFG. So if you are going for a PhD, when you are in the final year of PhD, you can actually apply for DFG, right? So I also had this opportunity to apply for DFG, but because I'm already assistant professor in university where I have to come back, so I just thought I'll come back for some time and then I'll plan accordingly. Then you have another association that's called as Helmhold Association. This is the largest scientific organization in Germany with 19 research centers. And suppose somebody wants to work in environment, like somebody are interested in environmental sciences, right? And somebody are in health, okay, right? You know that, always remember that, don't think that when you are in veterinary medicine, you cannot actually work on human health. There are people in human medicine who do research, who are from veterinary actually. Okay, they are from veterinary, but they do research in human medicine. So it's absolutely permissible in a foreign country, right? So even in the institute where I was working, that is in Hanover, in the city where I was working, we had this Hanover Medical School. So you go there, actually you see a lot of Indians, and all of them are non-medicals, but still they work. There are people, veterinarians who work at there. Right? So this is the website for the Helmhold Association. Then you have another association, that is Leibniz Association. Okay, it's also a connection of research institutions. It's like, you have ICR, you have CSIR, you have ICMR, you have CCAR, that is Central Council for Ayurveda and in India. So these are different associations actually, and all of them are independent. All of them are funded by government. All of them are independent, and they can actually have their own communication channel with the students. Okay, so they conduct knowledge-driven and applied basic research. So if you have a very good application in your mind, then just write to it. Then you have another one that is a very reputed society that is called as Max Planck Society. Max Planck is a very familiar name in your lower classes. You must have studied physics and all. So Max Planck Society is a German society, and it also has very good research programs. And the focus is on innovative research fields which are especially demanding in terms of funding. So a very highly challenging areas of research. So you can actually access in this website. That's Max Planck Society. Then you have a specific program that's called as Immunizer Program. These are for early care researchers. So somebody has done PhD, okay, or they are still after PhD they are doing some postdoc in some country. So you can actually apply for this Immunizer Program. So within 4 years of your PhD, generally PhD if you are completed 2020, so till 24 you can apply for this program, and you will get actually an independent junior research group for a period of 6 years. So you see that obviously you have an opportunity to work for 6 years in Germany. So the program is open for postdocs and junior professors with temporary contracts who are at an early stage of the research careers. Right? So if somebody has done PhD, they can actually look at this Immunizer Program. It is open even for people from life sciences. See, remember, when you are a veterinarian, you also belong to life science. Don't think veterinary is completely, excluded. There are veterinarians who work in human medicines. There are veterinarians who got Nobel Prizes. Okay? There are veterinarians who are actually shining in general life science research. So this is one very excellent program, that is Immunizer Program. And we have this other fellowship that's called as Leibniz Fellowship. It's also for outstanding junior researchers, those who have very good biodata, who have very good research credentials in PhD. And it is open for all the nationalities. Of course, all the fellowship that I am telling you, they are basically open for all the nationalities. And this is the website, that is Volkswagen Stiftung. Don't think that Volkswagen means it's only for mechanical, for cars and all. So it is for it's a fellowship. It's for open for the life science students also. And then you have a program that's called as Green Talents, greentalents.de. And this Green Talents is for a short-term visit for 3 months. Okay. So basically, what is that? If you are selected to this program, there is a science forum that is conducted every year for 2 weeks, or maybe twice in a year. So after the science forum, you have actually the opportunity to roam around different institutes in Germany. Then you actually can choose an institution for your further research. Okay, or else you can stay up to 3 months and come back. Right? So people from Green Talent, there was one scientist, there was one Indian actually, his name was Iqbal. I think he had this fellowship where actually he could roam around the institutes and he can choose which institute to do PhD, and after that you apply for a funded research project and you get a PhD admission there. So you can see there is a very different kind of program that is called as Green Talents. Right? And we have Helmhold Research Schools and Graduate Schools. So who can apply for this? Graduates with an outstanding university degree equivalent to German's master's degree. So this is for master's degree, for your MBSc. That's what I'm telling. Doing MBSc has certainly its own advantages. Right? And sometimes people who are doing masters from foreign countries, they are much preferred than those who are doing there for this kind of fellowships. So it's an academic qualification in the field of respective research. And you can see the extent, what is the funding that you get, 3,700 euros per month. And generally 3 years with possible extension for 1. So you can stay for 4 years if you want to go after your MBSc. 3,700 euros is a huge amount. So what I got from ICR fellowship is 1,700 euros, something like that, if you convert from dollars to euros. So 3,700 euros is absolutely very handsome amount. That's why they say people who, whatever they earn in a European country when they do their PhD, especially in Germany, if they are going for a postdoc in Australia or some other country, they actually spend whatever they earn here. So they say that earn in Europe, spend in Australia or spend in somewhere else. Right? So this is one that is very, it is open for you, for the young researchers, especially those who are in masters. Then this is Humboldt Research Fellowship for postdoctoral researchers, where you get 2,650 euros per month. This is up to 24 months, for two years you get. And there are people from even NDRI, or there are people from IVR who got this fellowship, and they are very well settled right now. They're continuing the postdoc. So what happens is that when you go for a postdoc and when you have proven your work, so this obviously you can continue. Even though if this fellowship ends, you actually get a placement in the project itself. See, apart from all these fellowship, the scientists, when they get a grant from the government for research, they can actually fund your research from their own fund that is available. Okay, so this Humboldt Research Fellowship for postdoctoral researchers. And this is individual doctoral projects at Leibniz institutes. I said Leibniz Association is one important association in Germany. So these association or these institutes, you have certain institutes are called as Leibniz institutes, which actually fund your PhD program. Okay, so they can complete a doctorate while working in an excellent interdisciplinary research environment. So those who have completed their masters, okay, equivalent to German. See, of course, our master's degree is equivalent to German. There's no doubt about it. Master's degree is not an issue. And ability to conduct independent research, team working, and good knowledge in English doesn't mean that That's why actually remember that Europe is not, especially Germany, is not that strict with your IELTS or your GRE or whatever it is. Okay, it's not. It's working language. They would be very happy if you know German, and that's why, especially in Humboldt Fellowship, if you want to go for Humboldt Fellowship, you have to do a short German course before you actually start your fellowship. So people who get selected, the Humboldt Foundation will spend money to teach you German first, a working language of German, right? So because that actually makes them have a pride that yes, there is one candidate who has learned German from a foreign country. Okay, so basically everybody has the love for the language. So the English, because of its ease, it has become an international language. But Germans also feel that it's an international language. So through this Humboldt Fellowship, they want you to know German in first place, and of course, being a part of research network is something different. Right, so this is this is for the doctor. This is for those who want to do PhD in the Leibniz institutes. So generally 2 to 3 years, possible extension up to 2 years. So you get obviously up to 5 years of time with 3,800 euros per month, which is excellent amount. And we have individual doctoral projects at a Max Planck Institute also, right? So this is also to complete your doctorate program. That is for your PhD. Again, open for those who have master's degree. Okay, so this is for a period of 4 years, right? And people generally who do this PhD from Leibniz Institutes and Max Planck Institute, they have actually very good job opportunities to work in a private, research organizations there. Okay, and International Max Planck Research Schools. This is one more association within Max Planck. So here, the difference between the Max Planck Institute and this one research schools is that they're actually in collaboration with institutes. So Max Planck Institutes are research institutes, and they are actually having collaboration with certain universities. Okay, so this is basically for structured programs. See, when you say there are two kinds of PhD programs, one is structured program, and other one is actually unstructured program. Unstructured program means you will not have actually coursework. You will not have strict coursework. And remember, always remember, when you are going abroad for PhD, always make sure that you are having a structured program. That means you are attending courseworks. Don't exclusively actually mark for research. You try to do certain courses. You have to do certain courses because in India, if you want to get a job in universities, what is important is that your PhD should be done with coursework. Just like people in IVR, LDR, what they do in first year, they do coursework, then they do research. So that's what even I also did in Germany. I actually did in structured program, where you have coursework and the research work. If you have only research work, then it will be actually a problem. They say it's very easy to see in India, when you want to apply for a job, what they try to first do is that they try to select you out in the initial stage itself. They said if your PhD is not having a structured program or coursework, then you're out in that stage itself. So always try to do your PhD in a structured program where you have courses, right? So this is one of the international Max Planck research schools. Then you have Max Planck grants for advanced postdoctoral training. This is after PhD for a period of 2 to 3 years. And you have Leibniz graduate school. So this is also for PhD once again. Okay. So PhD students can train in broad research areas within excellent research environment. They find ideal conditions for completing PhD in a structured program once again. So you can do PhD program in Leibniz institutes with this fellowship. That is per month. It's very handsome amount. Okay. And you have postdoctoral researchers, international mobility experience, that's called as PRIME. Okay. For all this, I have given actually websites. So you can actually have access to the website and you can look at the options on your own. And these are for the postdoctoral researchers after you finish your PhD, right? It can range anything from 18 months to 24 months. So you can spend time in Germany and you can do very good research, right? And you can see that this is something very huge amount. Right? So this is very attractive. These are all very attractive options what you have in Germany. And we have certain other research grants that is within the projects. Suppose somebody is having project, so you get research grants. And within there is DFG. So actually, if you go and see the DFG website, right, and Leibniz website, it's always open. Suppose Leibniz Institute, suppose if you're having this program is open for PhD. So there's a slot for PhD in nutrition. There's a slot for PhD in virology. So just you can apply it. So many people, they don't know this. See, what happens is that's why I said, when you actually follow the seniors directly, obviously you might get an opportunity, but you might lose many good opportunities. Okay. So in this era of information, where you have Geo or you have Airtel, where you have info, just a click of this will show you. You just need to have an interest to explore. So if you explore, there are a lot of options which you get. Right? So that's what I want to show you, how many different options you have. So if talking about Germany itself takes me around 1.5 hours, you can just imagine what I have talked about all the European countries. Right? Then you have research grants, that is binationally supervised doctoral degrees. So the aim of this program is to promote doctoral degrees at home university. That means you can actually do here, but you can, for a short period, you can go to Germany. Okay, so the doctorate is completed either in home country with the participation of German academic advisor. In addition, there is also a program, that is Kautel doctoral program, which supports binational doctor degrees on the basis of so-called Kautel procedure. Kautel procedure means actually you are enrolled somewhere and you actually go for a short period. So the degree can be granted by this or that. Okay, so it's up to 2 years because it's a collaboration. This you don't get fellowship for all the 3 years. It's up to 2 years. So you take admission in Indian university, then actually you go abroad. Okay. Then we have other research grants for Germany that you can actually find in funding guide.de. These are, you will get amounts for maintenance, that is 800 to 1,000 euros per month. So this is also one of the options if you are not actually getting other kinds of fellowships which are prestigious. And we have 1 year short-term grants also, right? You can see that from 7 months to 12 months or up to 6 months, right? So the international doctoral candidates and young researchers can realize a research project at a state or state-recognized German university or non-university research institution. Okay, this you actually supposed to DAAD. So generally DAAD application deadlines, it ends in September or October. So make sure whenever you apply, your application should be considered only up to the deadline of September. So even if you apply in October, that means your application is considered only in the next September. So we have certain cycle of applications. These are not the applications that you can apply anytime. Okay, there are some applications, of course, you can apply anytime. But there are some applications, even if you apply at any time, your deadline is actually September. So whatever applications they come till September 1st or September 30th, they consider. Whatever you get it on October 1st, it cannot be considered for the preceding year. Now, after going through all these fellowships, right? So coming back to India for a job, what are the different kinds of opportunities? See, somebody like after being there for 3 years, 5 years, so you want to come back to India. So some people have this drive that I should do something for my country. This absolutely is a very good thought. So what are the jobs that you want to come, or you have to settle? There are certain domestic obligations for you that you want to come back. So you have, what are the jobs? You have jobs in universities, including veterinary universities. You have jobs in colleges. Okay, so that means the colleges which are specifically having autonomous status. Then we have jobs in IITs. There are veterinarians who did their PhD abroad and who are now working in IITs. And advantage in IITs is that they are rolling notification. Anytime you can apply in IIT. IITs, the directors of IITs, they have extreme powers. So if they see your credentials, they can take you. And you have NITs. Okay, IITs and NITs, Biotechnology Division of IITs and NITs. They can take you. Then you have jobs in councils like ICR. Today ICR takes people who have 8 years of postdoctoral experience. They are taking as senior scientists. Right? You can actually go to CSR institutes also. Then you have other institutes, that is CC-RAS is Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences. So you have Central Council for Research in Siddha. You have Central Council for Research in Homeopathy. You have Central Council for Research in Unani. So you have all the things, right? Then you have jobs in other private research organizations like Reddy's Laboratory or Biocon, right? You can also get a job there. Okay, but of course, when you come back to India, you have certain challenges when you come back to India, right? So these are the most common problems. So people who, after spending very good research career abroad, they come back to India. They generally they will not be able to adjust it, because what happens is that obviously when you have a competent person around you, obviously you actually feel a bit of insecurity, and that's the main problem. See, in India, the main problem is that one person does work. There's a chance that the authorities might force you, okay, you also do like that. So be prepared for non-academic challenges. Of course, this is for people who want to come back. It's very far at this stage, but still I'm telling you, be prepared for non-academic challenges. Means somebody will try to poke you in some way, okay? Or be prepared for bureaucratic hurdles, right? You put up application, they said, "Arey, Dr. Sahab, ye nahi hai aapke paas. You have to attach this form. Don't have signature." So, right, which you must not have faced there. So because of these non-academic challenges and bureaucratic hurdles, what you get is called as cultural shocks or culture shock. So after being there for 6 to 10 years or 5 to 8 years in a foreign country where everything was just smoothly going like a car on a highway, now you actually enter into where you have bumps, okay, where you have potholes. So ultimately, what I am doing, what I have done, and right now what I am. So that is basically as cultural shock. So try not to go into a cultural shock. Because I've seen many people actually going into these culture shocks, and they just want to go back and run back to the country, because, and that's what when the people around you also want. Why he has come here? You go and work there, because your intention of coming here might be really to develop your country. That's what they say, that you come back and work here. You try to develop your country. But no, but the situations, though we have very good high profile people speaking that yes you do here, but it's not actually happening. So that's why the problem is that you have brain drain. And what they say is that brain drain is actually somewhat better than brain in drain. I have seen some of the senior people, they're telling that, yes, they are coming back, but what's happening here is this. So instead of, the brain going waste, the brain going into drain, it's again better to go for brain drain. At least we have the Indian name shining in a foreign country. Then be prepared for an environment of mediocrity. Okay? So if you might be coming with publications in Nature, very good journals. Sorry, what happens? What kya hoga Nature? Usse kya ho jayega? So you have to do this. So always, you will be pulled, you will be pushed back, and be prepared for voodoo science talks. Voodoo science talks. What is voodoo science? See, voodoo science is a very special term, that anything from foolish to fraud is called as voodoo science. So somebody says this animal is producing this gas. That's all. That's voodoo science. Okay, or you say yes, this can also happen, which you actually do surprising to you, but that's what. So be prepared for this. So I'm telling what happens when you come back, but it's only you who can change the system. Okay, our system should be changed by ourselves, not by somebody else. Will not come and change for us. Now, the biggest question that you have is your foreign degree valid for a job in a veterinary college? So, if you remember, I told you initially that go after MBSc. So, the PhD acquired in reputed global universities is valid over the world. There is no doubt about it. See, PhD is absolutely valid. And remember that we have issues with equivalence of degree, subject, and discipline. Now, these three are very different terms. We actually consider it the same, but no, degree is different, subject is different, and discipline is different. Now, absolute PhD degree is obviously considered everywhere in the world. There is no doubt about it. Then the question comes, is your subject or discipline, whether it is equivalent? No, generally what happens is that for other subjects of non-professional subjects like veterinary or medicine, just remove this. For traditional subjects or traditional or the basic sciences, we have a particular body in India that's called as Association of Indian Universities. That actually gives equivalence for degrees. Okay. Now the disciplinary equivalence. So what is the difference between subject and discipline? For example, suppose you have a degree that is you see that master's degree MBSc in veterinary microbiology, right? Then you have gone abroad, you have got a degree in PhD, that is the PhD in the membrane biomechanics of bacteria. Now that is you have got a discipline. Within discipline you have got a very specific degree. Now is that valid? That's the question. Is that valid? It is absolutely valid. Okay. But you have to actually convince that, and mostly because the name is not there. So what happens is that with respect to it is issued with nomenclature. So your PhD is fine, that is recognized, but what is written there is nomenclature. Of course, in my degree, if you see, I have shown you. I'll just show you once again after I finish this. I got a PhD degree in physiology of domestic animals. So I was also a bit cautious when I have chosen university. So the advantage of the university in Germany that where I did is that you actually get a name, the nomenclature of degree of your choice, provided whether it is within that domain. Okay, so be very careful about this and don't get disheartened, because that's the common thing that happens. People, they come, they have very good degrees, they say that it's not right. So be prepared for legal battles. If you really are interested to getting a job there, see, in India nothing comes so easily, and in a system where you have lot of loopholes, it's very difficult. But obviously sometimes you have to fight it out, right? So that's the issue when you want to come back. But your degrees are valid. That's why they said once you do MBSc, that's the basic degree for becoming an assistant professor. So that's all. So if you get a PhD degree, be it in a different discipline, but still you will be considered the MBSc in microbiology only. Right? So that's the advantage of having MBSc in India and going for a foreign country. Okay? So that's what I want to tell you about this. And I would like to say actually that at every time I remember that quotes of three people that I'm going to show you. One is the quote of Swami Vivekananda, like the ideal personality. In a conflict between heart and the brain, follow your heart. Okay, what he says is that in a conflict between heart and brain, follow your heart. And he says, men of heart get the butter, and the buttermilk is left for intellectuals. So, see, following your what does mean following your heart? See, if you like to do something, but you're forced to do something, right? And when you're forced to do something, at least at some stage, you're supposed to like it. But if you do not like it, you are forced to do something, then you will not have satisfaction in the life. But you are doing something that you're liking, then obviously, you have a lot of satisfaction in life. That is very important, because the life is short, and you will be very much, a contented life you have. So that's why they say butter is obviously valuable than buttermilk. Of course, you might like buttermilk than butter. That's a different. And I'm not telling in a materialistic view, but I'm telling the worth of it. Okay, so money is not everything, right? If you really want to come to India and work among challenges, that's absolutely great. That's absolutely fine. And even if you want to stay back there, that's also fine, because ultimately what you're supposed to do is what your heart says, not what your brain says. So your brain says, yes, you stay abroad, you get a lot of money, but that's not always. But if your heart says to go, that's why always have the purity. They say that the knowledge of man is powers of perception, of reasoning and intellect and heart. All are busy churning this milk of the world. Out of long churning comes butter, and this butter is God. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. Right? And the one thing that you must have read in your schools, it is Gandhiji's talisman. Right? You must have seen many times in your books, all the CBSE books. So what he says, whenever you are in doubt or when the self becomes too much with you, apply the following test. Recall the face of the poorest and the weakest man whom you may have seen and ask yourself if the step you contemplate is going to be any use to him. Will he gain anything by it? Will it restore him to a control over his own life and destiny? In other words, will it lead to Swaraj for the hungry and spiritual starving millions? Then you will find your doubts and yourself melting away. So this is having a very high level of, with the high level of the societal intention. Mahatma Gandhi has said this. So, and obviously it has worked. I mean, in my case, I always follow this Gandhi's talisman right from my childhood. Right? Though it looks, in words, it looks a bit complicated. But try to see that when you are doing something, whether it is to the benefit of society, of course, look at your benefit. But if the self becomes too much, but your heart is telling, no, I have to do something, then this is the one. And the last one is, of course, what is the difference between a great man and an eminent man? A great man is different from an eminent. So you are eminent in your own field. Okay, after 5-6 years of research, you are eminent in your own field. A great man is different from eminent one in that he is ready to be a servant of the society. Right? So remember these three things or three quotes in your life for have better decision making. Right? So thank you for patient listening. I think you have taken a lot of time. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions regarding anything, you are free to ask. Thank you very much, Shubham, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presentation. It was very nice. You had covered a lot of things, and approximately all of the German scholarship has been covered in this slide. Even the detailed procedure which you had mentioned for contacting the supervisor was very unique. And most of the students are maybe not following. Sometimes even while working with verticals, we used to see such types of queries, and
Yeah.
we are happy that you had told about that topic in very detail, sir. So we have some questions in chat box, sir. So I would like to read it for you.
Yeah. You can go ahead
So,
with
sir,
questions.
first question is by Dr. Kirti. Is it possible that you do your MBSc from India but do research project that is of 6 months or more from abroad, like some students do in other courses? IIT,
Actually, your
etc.
voice is low, Shubham. Can you just speak a bit louder?
Sir, the first question is from Dr. Kirti. Is it possible that you do your MBSc from India but do research project that is of 6 months or more from abroad, like some students do in other courses, IITs, etc.?
Yes, you can do. There are, as I said, actually I have shown you many fellowships where for short term you can go. So if you are having a collaboration, some scientists, they have collaboration in India, or some institutions, they have collaboration with foreign institutes, right? So even why for the sake of MBSc, if you take b.v.sc, if you see people in Tanuas, I think you must have seen there are some interns who go abroad. And there are some interns from US, they come to India. Right, so you can very well do it. There are opportunities for that. But only thing is that you have to just explore in the different institutes, and your master's guide or MBSc guide here has to accept, or your university should have an MOU. Or sometimes if you are able to get the own fellowship from your side, then obviously there's no problem with your the supervisor or master supervisor in India or even the institute, right? So that's what I'm telling. What can happen in this case is not the problem of getting a fellowship. It is the bureaucratic hurdles that you get. But obviously, yes, you can do a part of masters there. Obviously, get MBSc in India, and for a short time, you can go to abroad and come. Okay, and sometimes we have the joint projects. Like we applied for one joint project that, of course, we could not go ahead because of this COVID. So in that, what happens is that there are 2 to 3 slots for a period of 3 months to 6 months. So the student can go and work there as a part of the project. So it is absolutely possible.
Okay, sir. The next question is by Dr. Reddy. Can you explain more about IC fellowship program? What is the procedure to be applicable for it and get admission in abroad college via fellowship program?
ICR fellowship, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so ICR fellowship is actually termed as Netaji Subhash Indian Council of Agriculture Research International Fellowship. So this ICR fellowship generally it has 30 fellowships per year. Okay, And these 30 fellowships, they include for agriculture, different streams of agriculture and veterinary. And in veterinary, out of 30, I think we have around somewhere between 6 to 10 slots for veterinary medicine or veterinary sciences. And in this, remember that in these 30 slots, it's not only that people from India want to go abroad. If somebody wants to come from abroad to India, like there are certain African countries who are coming, the students from African countries who want to come to India, or people from countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, they want to come to India for research, they can also apply for that fellowship. So it's not just one-way fellowship that it is supporting for you to go to a foreign country. It is even for people who want to come to foreign country to India, from third world countries to India. So out of the 30 fellowships for veterinarians going abroad, if you are from veterinary field going abroad, you have option of around 6 to 10 or 6 to maximum of 8 fellowships, which you can get. And in these 6 to 8 fellowships, what happens is that you have to compete with in-service candidates. That means suppose people who joined as assistant professor with MVSC, but they want to go abroad, right? You have to compete along with them. But the advertisement for this notification comes in the month of May. Generally, because of this COVID, now it is disturbed, but it generally comes in the month of April to May. Then the interviews will take place in somewhere in September to October, and then you get a selection letter in the month of November. So the selection letter is valid for a period of 1 year, from November to next November. So in between, any time you can go. Okay. So what happens is that ICR fellowship, when you are applying for fellowship, you are also supposed to actually place along with the application one acceptance letter that somebody wants to supervise you. So that's why I said I initiated in April itself. I got a communication in May, and I applied with the same communication from my supervisor, right? And in worst case, there is one more option. Let me tell you, that in worst case, what happens is that sometimes supervisor is not is not able to guide, or there's suddenly some unforeseen thing has happened. Or what happened, there was one case with my own junior. What happened is that he said that your PhD degree you will get in medical biochemistry or medical sciences. The nomenclature in your PhD will be medical sciences. So then in that case, he asked me what I should do. I said, no, if you are having, it's absolutely no problem, you can go. But then he said, no, my university wants me to do in veterinary sciences. Then what happened, we had to change the supervisor by placing a letter to Indian University of Agriculture Research. So that option was also possible. So it is basically flexible fellowship. As I said, the timelines are there. Like in May, you get notification, and in September, we have interviews, and you get selection letter in November.
Sir, the next question is by Dr. Sunil that, sir, I had PhD in veterinary medicine. What subject options can I explore for postdoc?
PhD in veterinary medicine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have in veterinary medicine. Actually, if you see in Hanover University of Veterinary Medicine, there are one or two, I think, the 3 veterinary universities in Germany, and one of them is Hanover University of Veterinary Medicine, right, where I did my PhD. So just right, there are actually advanced veterinary techniques that are available for treatment. Okay, so you can actually apply for a postdoctoral position there. And what you can also do is that there are certain critical care techniques that they do in certain universities for which you can apply for a project. Or one thing is that being a veterinary medicine, you can also shift to human medicine, especially research in laboratory animals. Okay, that is open for you in veterinary, that is human medicine, human medical institutes and hospitals. For example, as I said, there is Hanover University of Medical Sciences, okay, or Medical School Hanover, where they do research on stem cells. So as a part of care in the animals, for example, you have to do operate, you have to monitor the animals. So all this, the part of you use medical equipments. For example, in treatment, they use medical equipment to check the progress of the health of that particular animal in different lab animals. So don't think that veterinary medicine you cannot do. Actually, you cannot go for a postdoc. You can also go for a postdoc, but you have to be a bit innovative in applying for it. So you just apply for medical schools where there are laboratory animal experiments going on, right? You can absolutely go and work there.
Okay, sir. Next question is by again Dr. Kirti. That can you mention some Indian vet universities having such collaboration with other universities to pursue part of master's degree there?
Yes, as a part of master's degree, see, for example, even our university is having a collaboration, but many people, they don't go. because you know that there are, as I said, it's a part of bureaucratic hurdles what we have. But the best thing that for you, what you're asking is Ludhiana. Okay, so Ludhiana actually has a collaboration. The University of Ludhiana, that is Gadwa, so it is having collaboration with Saskatchewan University in Canada. Okay, so that is currently Saskatchewan. So it has a collaboration. So there actually is one option. I think IVRA also has a collaboration, right?
Yes, sir. Under
Right.
the cast and yes, sir.
Yeah. So there are certain places you have a collaboration and where you can go ahead. And the best thing that I know is that Ludhiana. Then you also have an IVRA, right?
And DRI also used to send
NDRI,
this.
yeah.
The next question is by Dr. Sunil. Sir, some countries providing option for research in One Health subject. Is there any such opportunity in Germany?
Of course, One Health is now coming up in Germany also. You have actually very big conferences happening in One Health. Even I was also there for one of this. That's what I said. If you see in Leibniz group of institutes or Max Planck group of institutes, there are institutes that actually do One Health. Even my own institute, actually, the institute which I was pursuing my PhD, that is Institute of Farm Animal Genetics. It's a part of a very big collaborative institute that is called as Frederick Loeffler Institute. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
Frederick Loeffler, you might know Frederick Loeffler, which is a very common name in microbiology. So
Sir, under Griffith University, sir.
which one?
Griffith University, sir.
Yeah. So what I'm telling is in Frederick Loeffler institutes, you have a lot of institutes like Institute of Bacteriology, Microbiology, Immunology. So all this actually they're working on One Health, and you have a lot of students from. You have seen people from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. They're working there. They're all working on the project of One Health, and they do their part of work in India. They collect samples. They do research there. For example, there are somebody was working in Theileria, somebody was working in brucellosis, right? So because this One Health is very essential in developing countries. So what they do is that they enroll for PhD there, they get fellowship there, and they get data, and they collaborate and they do research. So it is absolutely present. If you can actually check for Frederick Loeffler institutes where you get this option.
Yes, sir. So next question is there any scope of PhD directly after UG? What are the pros and cons of it?
Yes, that's a very good question. And if you see, there is option to do PhD. There is no doubt about it. Actually, I have seen in Germany that b.v.sc is for 5.5 years. So what they do is that after b.v.sc, they directly go for PhD, but not immediately. They do a kind of internship-like thing for 6 months. Okay, they do internship for 6 months. That is like masters. They say they term it as masters, or sometimes they term it as internship. But they learn a specific technique under a supervisor for 6 months. Right, then they start their PhD program. Now the cons, the pros is that you save a lot of time, and of course if you're actually trying to settle abroad, then it's not much big difference, because ultimately what they see is whether you have PhD or not, and they don't see whether you have a master's or not. But you actually lose many fellowships where with eligibility of masters. If you see, if you remember in the slides, I was telling you that there are certain fellowships for doctoral programs where you should have master's degree or equivalent. Okay, so you will lose that part. But directly also you can apply for PhD. Suppose somebody is having a project, you can apply for PhD. But preferably, generally they do not take directly for PhD if you do not have at least 6 months of a specialized training. Okay, so that specialized training should be in a reputed lab. And the cons is that, as I said, if you want to come back to India and apply for a job, then if you don't have master's degree, MBSc, then generally they will not be considering your candidature. That's the issue.
Okay, sir. So next question is by Dr. Anandu, that can we do exchanges with foreign universities during UG?
During?
UG, undergraduation.
No, in undergraduate programs in India, we have very less options unless the university has MOU with that. As I said, in Tanvas, you have MOU with another university in United States. So there is a student exchange program in final year where certain meritorious students, up to 10 students, they select and they do for an exchange program for a short period of 3 months. But in other universities, I don't think it is there, and it's also not for open for all. It is open for only selected candidates who exercise option and who are meritorious. So it's not open for all candidates, right? But one thing that let me tell you, I don't know whether to explore this option. There is one option of going abroad when you are in undergraduation. That is with respect to this Nobel laureates meet. I don't know. Do you have this idea of Nobel laureates meet that happens in Switzerland every year?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there is the government of India calls every year. So we have Nobel laureates meet on in one
For
particular
Anna
year.
Fellowship is also there, sir, for USA.
Yeah, that I'm not only talking about the fellowship full time, but I'm telling about the short visit. For example, you have Nobel
That is
laureates
for
meet.
short week.
Short
That is
visit.
only
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, I thought. That is
Okay.
fully
So
funded.
this is with Nobel laureates. That is Nobel laureates fellowship. You have Nobel laureates meeting fellowship. You have where the government of India advertises, and for 1 year you have for chemistry, 1 year you have for physics, and sometimes you have for multidisciplinary, and for 1 year you have for medicine. So if you are in that, then you can go ahead with that.
Yes, sir. Then next question is, how important are publications to find supervisors and funding?
Yes, that's also a very good question. So publications are absolutely important to catch, something with what does something see in your CV. So they will see your percentage of marks. Then, if you're going for a PhD, what are your if you have any publications? So it is not that you should have tens of publications. 2, 3 good publications is enough. Even for postdoc, I'll tell you, if you have 3 good publications, that's more than enough. So not too many publications where you actually publish in junk journals. You try for a good publication. It will take time. Definitely will take time, but try for a good publication. And supervisor, you get very good supervisors if you have very good publications. And for funding also, I'm telling, in case of ICR fellowship, if somebody is having net or somebody has passed in net or somebody is having 2 publications, then they stand a very good chance, because this is the base level, that is having net and having 2 publications. 2 good publications is your base level that they have. And over this, if your project is good, then actually you have very good chance of getting selected, even though the other person might be having 10 publications. Okay, so your strength of the project can be considered only if you meet certain basic requirements of net or these 2 publications, 2 good publications, somewhere NAS rating of 8 and above or impact factor of 2 and above, right? So obviously publication is very important. So you do, that's why I said do MBS in a good institute, right? To spend some time for publication or associate your senior, and it's also not that you should be first author alone. Even if you have 1 publication, that's enough. Okay, but should be a part of a publication.
Sir, the next question is by Dr. Christie, that I have completed veterinary pathology MBSc from Kerala Veterinary University. What are the opportunities for me?
Veterinary pathology.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so veterinary pathology is one of the best options actually to go, because in veterinary university, also in Hanover Veterinary University, the pathology department is the most advanced and excellent department. Right, there are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of scientists and you have a lot of opportunities. You just explore the Hanover University of Veterinary Medicine, Hanover. You just get a lot of opportunities, right? And for all of you, I also want to tell you that there used to be fellowship that is from INSA for a short visit. I don't know whether it is right now, it is there or not. But in INSA fellowship, there are people from veterinary pathology who have gone there. Even I have my own senior colleagues here who have gone as a part of INSA fellowship for a short training. And veterinary pathology as a part of this PhD, it's a very good option. You have a lot of opportunities we have this ECVP, that is European Commission for Veterinary Pathology. I don't know whether she's aware of it. So you have ECVP. There are strict guidelines. And pathology research is very good there, and there are a lot of opportunities for pathology. And it is also not exclusively restricted to pathology, but even with respect to research in immunology, right? There pathologists are taken. Okay. You can also see there is one particular institute that's called as Boehringer Ingelheim. Okay, Boehringer Ingelheim institutes. So they also take on a part of this contractual like job, and where you can also get your degree and you can also do work for them. And Leibniz institutes are one of the institutes that encourage people who are from the veterinary pathology. Okay.
Next question is by again Dr. Anandu. Can we write a research article or review article while pursuing UG?
Can we write a research article, review article while pursuing?
UG, under revision.
Oh, why not? Why not? Why you can write C. So what I did, even I did with my own UG students. So there were 2 of my UG students, and I just involved them in some research work. I told them that was on buffalo. So I told them that you have to collect this blood sample and you have to do this analysis. And you just have to read the articles, you understand basic. I mean, not a very high level, just understand the basics of it. Then I just helped them, and they could get a publication even in UG itself. And writing a review article, I generally don't entertain, because to write a review article, I mean, you have review articles where you publish it, here and there, but that's not, as a part of a co-author, it's fine. But when you're writing a review article, what happens is that when you go abroad, so it is generally not taken, because you're not generally review article should be written when you are actually having some exposure or some work in the field. Even if you see in my case, I have a number of such articles, but writing review article, a good review article is very difficult. Of course, I know there is a trend in India right now that you write a such article, publish it in some junk journal. And remember, publishing in junk journal from 2019 of June is strictly prohibited, right? So if somebody notices that you have published in junk journal, instead of helping you, that actually gives a negative image. So don't try to do. Have a publication, research publication. You just go contact some professors in your UG. Sorry, I would like to do some more work. I'll just get some samples. I do some histology work, or I want to do some fish histology, or I want to do study some blood parameters. Not only in veterinary, fish or whatever animals you get. So that research article can be done at any stage. It doesn't matter whether you are in UG or PG. But review article, it's not certainly not a good practice, because it's not a much idea. So copying and pasting and readjusting is not review. Okay? Review means you should have a very good grasp of the subject and should have at least one or two publications in that field.
Yes, sir. The next question is by Dr. Shubham Suratkar. That, sir, should one consider doing a PhD in India or abroad if ultimate aim is to settle in private sector?
Get back. Can you get back? Can you tell once again?
Should one consider doing a PhD, whether in India or abroad, if ultimate aim is to settle in private sector?
I just missed the middle part. Should the one, what is that actually?
Sir, should one consider doing a PhD in India or abroad if ultimate aim is to settle in private sector?
Okay, so if you want to settle in private sector, whether you do PhD in India or abroad it doesn't matter. Obviously, the people with the PhD from foreign degrees, since they have very good exposure and publications, they are preferred. But even people who do PhD in India, there are people who work in private, in India research, settling in research laboratories in India. Of course, when you want to go abroad as a part of this job in a private industry, there also obviously Indian degree is considered. It's not about degree, it's not about you get PhD. So how much exposure you have? Okay, that's what is important. How much exposure you have, what are the publications? So your publications actually show that what are the techniques you got exposed. And even what some people do is that after PhD or while doing PhD, what they do is that they simply apply for some courses. For example, there is short training on facts, pay rupees 5,000 rupees. There is a fee, and they actually attend that course for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they enhance their knowledge, they enhance their skills. So that skill enhancement, that enhanced skills will help you securing a job in a private reputed labs. And it is always not completely research private laboratories. There are, for example, you have CMC Vellore. It has a research division where it works on stem cells. So there also you can get a job, right? So getting a job in private sector doesn't matter whether PhD is in India or abroad, but yes, the quality of PhD determines your selection. And basically, when you get it from foreign country with good publications and good exposure, obviously it indicates that you have a very better exposure. So better if you are having a chance, try to do PhD abroad. Then you just see that your avenues will open up like anything. A lot of, even I think there is one particular network of organization that's called as EMBO. Okay, European Molecular Biologist Organization, something like that. That's called as EMBO, EMBO. You see a lot of options. EMBOs, they actually offer trainings. They are highly paid trainings. So it is a very good option actually you have.
Okay. So next question is by Dr. Anna Jarvis. That, sir, kindly highlight scope of veterinary parasitology in Germany for PhD program.
Veterinary?
Parasitology.
Veterinary parasitology? Yeah, you have actually, yes. You have actually, research options in parasitology also, because when I was attending a course in Germany, there was actually one particular lecture on this these mosquitoes and the diseases which are carried by the mosquitoes and mosquitoes in Germany, right? There are also other parasites in Germany, and what happens is that though Germany you will not have many parasites because of completely advanced level of food processing and the things there. But what happens is that generally they have collaboration with some third world countries. For example, what happens is that many people who do who enroll for PhD in parasitology, and you don't think that parasitology it exists as a separate division. Sometimes it is with microbiology, sometimes it is pathology. Don't think that they have exclusive division of parasitology, or sometimes we have division of zoology department that actually does research on parasitology. So don't think that if there is no department of parasitology, there is no research on parasitology. There is research. So what I have seen is that people they go to African countries, especially they have collaborations with countries like Madagascar and other African countries, where they select some samples and they get it. Okay, then they do research, they do high level molecular biology or the gene sequencing studies in Germany after getting the samples, right? So I have seen people who have done who are doing research in parasitology. So you also have options. Don't think that you don't have options. You have options in parasitology. But always remember that it is basically the higher research is a bit multidisciplinary. Okay, so it's not that parasitology does not apply molecular biology techniques, and in India it doesn't mean that in foreign countries it's the same situation. Of course, right now in India also there's a lot of advanced research going in parasitology, and even abroad you have a lot of research in parasitology. Only thing is that you enroll the PhD program in Germany, and you actually go to institute where the German institute has collaboration with some African institute. Or the thing is that sometimes you can even come to India. You can even come to India. We can collect blood samples. You can do preliminary research there, and you can actually, you can take the samples for sequencing there. It's absolutely possible. The only thing is that you should make sure that you follow Nagoya Protocol. There is a protocol that's called as Nagoya Protocol. That is because that biodiversity is very important. There is a concept of called as biodiversity. So when you are taking any samples, biological samples from India to abroad, that means you are also carrying the gene diversity. So there are certain restrictions in carrying this gene diversity. So you actually look, that is called as Nagoya Protocol. So obviously you can do it. It's not a big thing. So
then,
also, yeah.
Yes, sir. So the next question is for PhD microbiology in Germany.
Yes, PhD microbiology, it's also very extensive. As I said, if you see Frederick Loeffler group of institutes, that is an exclusive research institute for research in veterinary microbiology related aspects. That is FLI. It's called as FLI.de. You can just search in website FLI.de. So they have institute for bacteriology, institute for immunology, institute for virology, and apart from this, you have Leibniz group of institutes for virology, right? And within university itself, University of Hanover, veterinary university itself, we have separate divisions or institutes for microbiology. The microbiology research is very extensive, and what they generally do right now is that they are having this antimicrobial resistance. And here also, Germany, they have collaborations with other countries where they do the sample collection, and they have this data on prevalence of this antimicrobial resistance in different countries. So you can, as a part of research, they do it. Okay, so as a part of collaboration, they generally do it. So there is very extensive scope for even microbiology also. See, all the fields, there's nothing that, even for veterinary extension, I'll tell you there is a scope. So it's not like, that the science, research is only or physiology or genetics or biotechnology. See, biotechnology is one subject which encompasses many. So you see a parasitologist working in biotechnology, you see a pathologist working in biotechnology. So it's, that's what it should be. Basically, the higher research is interdisciplinary.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. One personal question, sir. Like if we have some research component that involves the
Can you repeat louder?
Yes, sir. So I'm saying that in our research, like we are pursuing our master's or PhD in Germany, and we have a component in which we have some treatment aspect, and it is allowed in Germany or not, sir?
Oh, so who has asked this?
Sir, me.
Okay, that's again a very good question, right? I thought somebody will ask. I even forgot to tell. So you cannot do straight away an experiment on any animal in Germany. The moment you go, you cannot do directly research. What generally they do when you go to PhD in life science research is that first you start working on cell cultures, which you are allowed to do. If you want to do an experimentation, even if you want to touch an animal for any experiment, you are supposed to write an exam that is called as the LAWES. Okay, that is laboratory animal. I mean, I don't particularly remember the full time because there is some German component. So you have that is the exam called as conducted by LAWES. So there, what you have to do is that you have to attend at least 25 credit hours of a course. Okay, it is 25 hours of a course you have to do. After that, you have to appear in an exam and you have to pass the exam. After you pass the exam, you get a certificate. It's only after you acquire the certificate you can actually do research on animals. So everybody will have to do that. So, and that certificate also, for example, if you want to do research in this year, you have to clear the exam in this year. It's not like you have done you passed the course in 2017 and you are doing research in 2020. It's not. I mean, it has also have some validity. And if your validity is not considered, right? If they think that you have to do the course again, then you have to do that course again. And this course is offered every time twice in a year, once in summer, once in winter. So all those who want to do experiment on laboratory animals, from mice to a cow, those who want to do any experiment on animals, even if you want to do rectal palpation in animals for any research purpose, you are supposed to pass this exam. Okay, then only you
That
will get.
exam is conducted in German language or it is in English
No,
language?
English. It is conducted both in German and English. So the course is offered both in German and English. And even I myself have appeared in this exam and have passed this exam also in Germany. And so I have a certificate of laboratory animal practice exam from Germany, which is a very good thing actually. So that you have to do when you go. And many people have failed in that exam also. It's not that easy, but it's not that difficult. You can just appear in the course. You just follow the lectures and you get it. You get the notes. So you just pass the exam and then you do the research.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
And what happens is
And
that remember that always, in Germany, in foreign countries, what happens is that for every 6 months, there will be local administration. I mean, the local administration officers, they come and check actually your work. Okay, suddenly they visit and they say whether you are actually following the biosecurity protocols or not, you are wearing apron or not, you are wearing gloves or not, or you are doing this or not. Or they sometimes ask you whether you have faced any hazard, whether you have faced any problem. So that's what I'm telling. It's absolutely completely different level. Where you should be cautious, but at the same time you are actually free to do whatever the work you want. Suppose you want to do, you want to get this chemical, you want to do something different, then you just get that chemical and try it. So that's what. See, we have my own research project. I'll tell you, it is the first thing that somebody has produced the ligninase enzyme in membranolysis. It's first time in the world. And I just had a concept whether it will work or not. I was not knowing. But absolutely, I just had to take step by step. It was just like a challenge. So what happens is that in India, what happens? For example, you committed an objective. So unless your objective is fulfilled, you will not even get a degree. That's the problem. But in Germany, what happens is that it's actually, it is updated every year. Means, for example, you join in first year. Then there is actually, at the end of the year, you have a meeting. You have a conference-like thing. So in that they will actually update what is your current status of research work, whether it is something is wrong. So what is important is the procedure you have followed, the technique you have followed. It's not the result. So even not getting a result is also a result. No result is also a result. Don't think that result means something. Result which is positive. That's we actually think in our system. So even not getting a result is also a result, and you actually publish it. Yes, by this technique you cannot produce this. It's just like Thomas Alva Edison saying that I now know 2,500 ways of not making a battery or not making an electric bulb. So it's a failure doesn't mean that you have not done anything. It means you have done, but you have not got, and that's not the right procedure to do anything.
okay, sir. Sir, then one more question is in chat box that if somebody wants to practice as a veterinarian in Germany, what will be the procedure? If you have any idea, sir.
Yeah, though practicing as a veterinarian in Germany, see for not, I mean I can I'll just show you some. So you can see that in the United Kingdom, we have certain examining authority that's called as Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons. right?
Yes, sir.
So for every country, actually, see what happens. I'll just tell you one example. I had one conversation with a scientist in Belgium. So he was working in animal reproduction. He said that when you want to do this Easter synchronization or certain administration of drugs, even we are not even able to do straight away if we come from India, though we have BDS and NGS, we are not able to do, we cannot do it. We have to do actually 3 months course. He said we have to do 3 months course, and then only we are supposed to, do a particular kind of practice. That's the practice for the purpose of research, I'm telling you. So practice for the purpose of a regular practitioner's job is something different. You have every country, you have certain level of examination that you have to pass. And in Germany, if you have to practice, you should know German. Absolutely, that's very important. Knowing German is very important. In United Kingdom, at least you have advantage of English. In the United States, you have advantage of English. But here, first thing is that you should know German, and you should know it's not a basic level of German. It's a very good level of German. Then only you can practice. So going for research career is a good option, but if you want to have the idea of doing practice there, it's a bit complicated. It will take a lot of your time, and learning a high-level language, and then appearing for the exam, and then writing the exam in German. You cannot write exam in English there, right? You have to write, even for becoming a professor, you should actually write a part of examination in German. Okay, so that's why in English-speaking countries it's fine for us, but in foreign countries, like where the English is not a first language in that countries, it's a bit difficult. So these are the countries.
Yes,
In Australia, New Zealand, you have Australian Veterinary Boards Council, right? You have Veterinary Council of New Zealand. So these are the examining authorities in other countries.
yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Anything else?
So nothing, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for answering all the queries. And if you have still any other query, you can write us to our mail ID, and we will also. Sir, can we provide your mail ID to them, sir?
Yeah, sure, sure. You can provide the mail ID. You can provide the WhatsApp number.
And you will also receive the email ID of Iqbal, sir.
Yeah.
So, thank.
So thank you
Yes.
very much, Shubham. First, I should appreciate you and your team for starting something like this, because it's absolutely needed. And many times, if you see a few years ago, this kind of guidance was not there, and people suddenly they end up doing something and they say that no, we had no guidance, right? So teaching is different, mentoring is different, right?
Thank you.
So that's what is very essential, and this VETI course advanced, right? And I'm absolutely sure that it is doing it. Okay. Thank you for this opportunity, and
Thank you so
hope
much, sir.
that yeah,
Sir is Rahul Kataria,
Thank you
sir.
so
He
much,
is the
sir.
founder of Verticos.
yeah. Rahul Kataria.
Hello.
He is the founder of the Verticos.
Okay, Rahul Kataria. Okay, I absolutely appreciate your effort, Mr. Rahul.
Thank you, sir. Webinar was so amazing, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're
So
welcome, sir.
anytime, like I'm ready. I mean, if you want to have a talk on like any other aspect, right? You are just welcome to give me an opportunity, and I'll definitely try to do it, because you are actually for a good cause. You are trying to do. You're trying to help students, right? So thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, Shubham.
So,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Somebody want to ask? Yes, you can ask. Somebody is raising his. Okay, so I think it is technical. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining the webinar and for listening to this, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So we will provide you the PPT via the email. I will collect the PPT from Iqbal, sir, and then I will send personally. So don't worry for that. And for recording also, we will send you the recording soon. Thank you everyone. Have a nice Sunday.
Okay, thank you very much, Shubham.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'll leave.